Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome back to Dyson Sphere Program. So in the last episode, we created a blueprint that uses 2 ingredients and assembling machines, and then we used that blueprint to create some hydrogen fuel rods. I did mention that we were going to be pretty tough on the hydrogen. We were going to run out pretty fast. So in this episode, we are going to be doing a few things. We're going to be making a Fractionator build, which is going to tank the hydrogen even harder, but we are also going to make an X-ray cracking build that will kind of take our refined oil and convert it into hydrogen. So hydrogen is a bit of a struggle early in the game. Later in the game, it's free. You get tons of it, but up until that point, we definitely want something that will create some more hydrogen for us. So that is on the agenda for this episode. But I did mention that I might show off one of my old builds, and this just happens to be the very first game that I ever played. This is the first save file that I ever had. And yeah, so I said I was going to show off the Fractionator build, and it's pretty wild. Like, there's a ton of Fractionators here, but this is not the crazy part of the build. The crazy part of the build is just simply how much storage I thought I needed. Like, this is insane. Like, I think I have something like 2 million hydrogen stored here. Like, that's insane. Tons and tons of deuterium here. Anyways, the idea, which you will kind of see like how I got to where I am with the new build. The hydrogen comes in through here and it gets split into these lines. These lines just kind of weave in and out of the fractionators, and on the ends they get resupplied. So that's kind of the concept. The downside of doing it this way is, sure, you might have mostly a full line coming in, but as it starts spitting out the deuterium, you'll see the little gaps in the lines, and we want to try to avoid that. On top of that, we also have the ability to pile now, so we have pile sorters and the pilers. We will not be using the pilers pretty much ever, so that is something that you definitely don't have to worry about. Anyways, so we're going to jump into the game and we're going to unlock cracking, X-ray cracking, and a few other things, and then talk a little bit about what our problems are going to be and how we're going to solve some of those. Okay, so we are back, and this is the hydrogen fuel rod build. We are very slowly depleting our hydrogen, and there's a couple of things that I want to grab. We are going to need some oil refineries. I have 37, 47, 48. I think we're going to need like 52. I'm also going to need some more thermal generators soon, so I'm going to open this back up. So let's take a look at our hydrogen. So our hydrogen is just slowly, kind of quickly depleting. We are burning through it pretty fast. So I've got about 19,000 here, and the refined oil is capped out. We cannot add any more yet, any more storage, but we kind of don't really need to. So we're going to use the refined oil. I should unlock the cracking first. So this is X-ray cracking, and it uses refined oil and 2 hydrogen to create 3 hydrogen and energetic graphite. So I'm going to activate that. I'm also going to activate the geothermal extraction. So we probably should have unlocked this earlier. This is a good thing. This is something that you can use to get rid of the dark fog, the relay stations. So we're going to queue that up as well, and that is it at this point in time. Maybe the proliferator as well. We will need to eventually make some proliferator 3 for our fractionators, and I'll get into that towards the end of the episode. But for now, let's just do those 3. So I want to grab some of this. We need to get the hydrogen producing again. So I'm just going to toss this in to this PLS, and we're going to activate that for refined oil. We're going to leave it capped out. Like, we don't want to cap out it doesn't really matter about the hydrogen, but we definitely want to get this filled up. We're going to be using a lot of that. And there we go. Something else we're going to do in the next episode, we are going to start collecting some of this stuff. Like, we haven't made. So we have like the titanium alloy. Whoops. The titanium alloy. We've got the particle containers. We've got the supermagnetic rings over here. We have some sulfuric acid, water. There's a lot of things that we don't have access to in the drone network, in the, let's call it the station network. So we will definitely want to grab some of that. I'm just going to grab, we have 32 of these, we're going to need quite a bit more. And then I said we needed, what, 52 of these? That's 58, that's plenty. Okay, so oh, I need to make a little spot real quick. Okay, so now we have a spot just below where we have the hydrogen fuel rods being created. And for the build, we are going to have some refined oil come in, and that is going to be in our number 2 slot. Let's get this added. Oh, I need some more drones and vessels. So hydrogen is going to be the main export. So we're going to add in hydrogen, then we're going to add in the refined oil, and we also need some room for the energetic graphite. The heavy or the refined oil will be on the lower end, and that will request in. We don't need to request in any of the hydrogen, but I did need to grab some. So another little trick that you can do is anything in an ILS or PLS, you can actually grab it from anywhere on the planet. So I'm going to grab a little bit of the hydrogen, toss it in. That is quite a bit more than I needed, but that's okay. So this is going to be the refined oil, and it's going to go all the way down. We're gonna match it up with this. This is the kind of like halfway point between this square, which is, you know, we're half a square set back here, so we're half a square back from this one. From here, we're gonna need hydrogen on these 2 inside lanes. So that's hydrogen going right into the ILS. And then we can add in our oil refineries. So the way that this is going to work is we're going to bring it right up to this line. We're not going to cover the line. We're just going to go right up to it. And then we're going to drag this, but we're going to tab 3 times. And we're going to sit 13 of these down. And then just below that, we're going to have 13 as well lined up. Right, there we go. So that is 13. And then we also need an export, we need an output for the energetic graphite. So let's get that down. Tab, tab, tab. 13 more of these. And then another output for the hydrogen. And bringing in another refined oil on the outside belt here. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. So we need energetic graphite leaving. We need hydrogen. Nope, sorry. We need the machines next. We don't need to tab for this one. This one is actually going to line up perfectly for us, which is why we tabbed through the other ones. And then we've got hydrogen going back out. And refined oil coming back in. Okay, so the way that this is going to end up working, we're going to set the recipes up here for the oil, for the X-ray cracking. And we are going to use pilers for just the hydrogen. That's all we really care about. And we need to filter this. So this is hydrogen being exported. And then right behind where we are putting the hydrogen onto a belt with the piler sorter, we're going to use a sorter Mark III and bring hydrogen back in. And then we also need the heavy or the refined oil. The energetic graphite I'm a lot less concerned about, so I'm just going to use a regular Mark III Mark III sorter and make sure that this is the energetic graphite. We want to make sure that they have their own lanes. We don't want to have a situation where we might get clogged up with hydrogen and then not be able to export the energetic graphite. So they get their own lanes, they get their own filters. Same thing here, we're going to be exporting hydrogen. And then immediately bring in the hydrogen. bring in the oil. Okay, something like that. Energetic graphite. We need hydrogen out, hydrogen in, and oil in. Alright, so from there, we just need to add in all of the sorters, which we can't really do because we do not have all the belts down. I should have placed one of the buddies. There we go. Okay, let's make sure that we got all the sorters. I feel like I missed something on the back. Yep. Okay, and everything else is fine. This one is not. Why is that? Oh no. Okay, and that should be good. I think we got everything else. Alright, so now all we need to do... Where are you guys going? Oh. Alright, so now all we need to do is kind of jumpstart this. So we have some hydrogen. Excuse me. Oh, we did not have... Oh, okay, we don't have power. Because I turned it off. Alright, so for power, we are going to go back here. Let's go with... That should be fine there. So I'm actually going to drag this. If we drag this and tab through, it should line up for us. And then same thing over here. Alright, so that should be it. That should be good. Why are we not... Okay, there we go. We're just checking to make sure everything is going to work. It should, because if these are working over here, then these should be working just fine because we did copy and paste all the way through. Okay, and that will help us get some more of the hydrogen. So we also want to... We need something to get rid of the energetic graphite. So we're going to add in another section with the power plants. So I did grab some extras. I'm not too concerned about filling this in just yet. So let's place another ILS. Alright, I need some drones.
Flight mode. Cruise mode. Cruise ended.
So another thing that you can do is you can also add in drones to any of the items that you missed. From anywhere on the planet, that is. Thermal generators, are we good? That is perfect, that's lots. Okay, so we can actually fill out the fuel rods. I'm going to do that first, and the reason why is because we're going to just copy all of this and paste it in over here, so that will be good. I'm going to take one of the ones on the back and drag that through. We're going to finish that row. And one more.
A landing relay station detected.
A landing relay station, you say? That's probably going to the other planet. Okay, well, we'll have to deal with that. We're going to do that in the next episode, which means that we're going to probably want to handcraft some of the geothermal power stations. We have most of the ingredients. The pink one there, the photon... What is that called? Photon something. It only needs, like, glass. Photon combiner. Basically, it just needs glass and... glass for the prisms and some... whatchamacallit? Circuit boards. So, yeah, we'll do that in the next episode. We'll go play with the dark fog a bit. Okay, so I'm going to copy all of this and use now. I am going to make a full blueprint out of this, but for now, this is going to be fine. And we're going to put that right up against.
Flight mode.
Oh, it did not place it. How do we still not have enough of that? That's wild. Well, at least for now we can start to bring in some of the energetic graphite. So we're just gonna bring that in locally. Let's just put that to storage. How close were we? Oh, not that bad. So that is going to temporarily save our hydrogen. Oh, come on, bots. I can't believe I did not have enough of the thermal power. Alright, let's grab some more. Whatever we have. Another 35? That should be close enough, maybe? Oh, we're short 2? Really? If only I had set up the logistics bots on the containers that we have over here. There we go. So that is going to beef up our power even more. We are up to 604. We can probably certainly start to turn some of the blueprints that we have, turn those on. Yeah, this is probably not enough. Like, this is probably too much, but you know what? It is what it is. Okay, so we also need to make a Fractionator build. The Fractionator build is going to go in the same kind of quadrant. And the nice thing about the Fractionator build that we're going to make is... Well, for start... Oh, we're going to have to sync this one. That's unfortunate. Okay, so we're going to be using 4 spaces. So this is going to be right in here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I'm supposed to be on the line. One, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Okay, so this is all the room that we need for our Fractionator build, and thankfully, like I said, it's going to take up the majority of this section in here. It is kind of scalable though, so if you had I don't know, it might be able to fit in here if you were to like recreate the build and maybe squeeze a weird ILS in the middle somewhere, definitely hear those. So let's see what we need. The fractionators will bring in... Okay, anyways, the fractionators will bring in hydrogen and convert it into deuterium, but it only converts 1% of everything that it brings in. So obviously the goal is to kind of bring in as much as we possibly can. So the way that we're going to set this up, we're just going to set it up kind of randomly here. You know what, we might be able to do this. So let's just aim for... That is going to be in the middle. We're going to have some hydrogen come out tight like this, and some hydrogen come out tight like this. Where did the fractionators go? And then this is going to be on the inside, but we need to leave some space back here, because what we're going to end up doing is, this is where the deuterium comes out. But instead of chaining these together like you saw earlier and have a belt go into one and into the other as the hydrogen comes out, what we're going to do is we're actually going to have this go in a nice little loop. That way we can kind of control how this is placed. So let's go ahead and start setting this up. We're going to have 4 of these in a row. Like that, and then our hydrogen will come through like this. I think we're gonna maybe aim for the middle, and then we are gonna use a pile sorter to add this onto the line. So what that'll do is the pile sorter will stack this up to 4 times, so we will have 4 times as many hydrogen running through the fractionator, and then every time we convert one, the pile sorter will just add to whatever pile is missing. That way it will be fully stacked, and you saw that the max that we were getting in the other build was 1800. Every single one of these will get a 100% solid 7200 per minute, as long as you can feed it with enough hydrogen, which is not that difficult. Also, I could copy all of this and like flip it, but for some reason when you copy and paste these things, they are a little weird. They're kind of finicky, but we can just line all of these up with the others and just quickly get in the belts. Outgoing belts right into the middle. Now, power is a little funny, so we are going to take power and just however it seems to line up for us. We might have to put one in every single slot. That is perfectly fine. And that will not quite cover all of them. Tell you what, we're going to do it like this. Okay, so that should be just fine. And then the other side will work as well. All right, and that is our build. So as you can see, I did take... Let's see if we can actually make it work in one of these other spots. Oh, how about that? It would actually work in here. There you go. I did say that it was going to take up this whole area though, and we are going to copy the end of it here. Use now. Line one up on the top and one on the bottom. And I am out of belts. Okay, back to the fractionators. So we're going to need some hydrogen coming out here, which will be our number 2 slot. Deuterium goes back in. Hydrogen back out. That is going to be number 2. This one is going to be number 2. Let's just go ahead and add these in. So this is going to be deuterium. This is going to be hydrogen. We can just leave both of these wide open. Hydrogen coming out. Deuterium coming in. Hydrogen out. Let's keep this low for now. 5k? Yeah, 5k is fine. So I want to get this activated because I kind of want to show you. We're going to end up adding in the potential for proliferators. Yay, deuterium. So you can see that this one's already at least twice as good as the other one. And the way this works is, like I said, it's 1%. It converts 1% of the hydrogen into deuterium. So it is a 1-to-1. There's nothing consumed. The hydrogen is consumed and then it spits out a deuterium. There's no like, oh no, we lost 3 hydrogen to make 1 deuterium or anything. But once we add in proliferators, it takes this 1% and turns it into 2%. So we're going to be adding the ability to have all of this be proliferated, spray coated. So we are going to add in these here, and yeah, we will need to power them as well. That's the easy part. Just making sure they're all lined up. Wait, did I mess this up? Ah, whatever. There we go. Alright, so as for the proliferated items, so we would have the proliferator 3. We would bring in maybe 200. Local receive, remote receive. We're probably never going to make it remotely, but we can have the option there either way. So we also need a splitter. And we're going to tab the splitter. So this will be proliferator coming out. That's going to go right into the splitter, and then we can just hit up on the arrow keys and drag this over to the other side here, and do the same thing over here. There we go, and now we are pre-set up for proliferators. Like I said, that'll take this 1% and turn it into 2%, so we will get twice as much deuterium out of this. This is actually... like, we would only be able to go, like, once we get this completely active and up and running, we would only be able to, like, add maybe another, if this is 8 into one belt, maybe another 4 or 6, not quite double. We wouldn't be able to double this, but, unless we did some funky stuff with pile sorters in the middle of the belts, but we're not too worried about that. Anyways, so, that is going to be it for me for this episode. In the next episode, there's a bunch that I kind of need to do. We're going to start working on them all, but we're also going to start by making... actually, you know what? Let's not... we'll just do this now. Okay, so what do I mean by we're going to just do it now? So we have another build that I would like to get ready. And it's basically just a 1 ingredient for assembling machines, but there aren't too many of those types of recipes that are needed. We need them for the gears, we need them for the prisms, and for the most part that's going to be it. There's some other ones here and there. Some of these are not like we're not going to necessarily make the ammo or the proliferator Mark 1. So there's a couple of things that we will use, and there's some that we don't have researched yet that we will end up using, but we do want to have a build for this. The reason why it's going to be pretty easy is because it's basically just going to be the same build that we have. And what I mean by that is it literally takes up the same dimensions as the smelting. So we know two things. We know that the smelting can just be lined up on the lines. So we're going to add this here. We also know that we can add in 10 of the machines. So that makes this extremely easy. And then we have what? Incoming on the top, outgoing on the bottom. I'm never going to remember that. I don't know why. Incoming on the top, outgoing on the bottom. And thankfully, something else that we don't really have to worry about for this build is spacing. And the reason why we don't have to worry about spacing is because the assembling machines will allow us to put the Tesla towers in between them, so that is definitely a non-issue. Same thing, we're going to have the pilers on the bottom side and the Mark III on the top side. I'm going to have to redo those because I did not wait for the belts. Whatever, it is what it is. I can finish a lot of this after. So the Tesla towers will be as easy as... Does that cover everything in the middle? I think it does. Yeah. So we'll just place them here and do like every 2. Okay, and there we go. So that is another nice, quick, and easy build. Like I said, this is going to be at least for the gears and the prisms. And we won't need that many, so we technically could have maybe even like made a build for those in this thicker band. But you know what? It is what it is. We're only doing kind of like half builds for the assembling machine items, so we do not need to take up a full slot. So we're going to have tons of room. Anyways, that is going to be it for me for this episode. So in the next episode, there's a couple things that we're going to end up doing. One, we are going to start working on the mall. That is going to be on the top side. We kind of started the placement here, and there's a couple things that I want to go over for that episode. I don't think it's going to be a 2-part. It might hopefully just be one. There's some things that I'm going to show, like how to set them up, and I'm not going to really have a blueprint for this until probably later in the game. Once we get everything unlocked, then I will have kind of a full blueprint of the northern pole for this. But I at least want to show you how to set it up. There's a couple of tricky situations, and what I mean by that is we have room for 5 items, and some of the items, do I have anything here? I think I should. There aren't many, but there are a couple of items. I can't remember which one's off the top of my head. There are a couple of items that actually require 5 ingredients, so that is something that can be a little tricky. We do not have any at the moment. And I don't think I can quickly remember off the top of my head which ones. Ray receiver. Okay, so that's one. So this requires 5 ingredients, as you can see. So that would not leave us room to have the item and 5 ingredients. We only have room for the item and 4 ingredients. So there's going to be some situations where we will have to steal from other stations, but that is a problem that we will solve in the coming episodes. We are, like I said, we're going to be working on the mall, the permanent mall. This is literally the in-game mall. And we're also going to collect some items because like I said, we have some of the particle containers, the supermagnetic rings. We've got some graphene and sulfuric acid, water. You know, there's a lot of things that we have, the EM turbines, even everything on the bus. So we can actually collect from the bus over here as well. So some of these items that maybe we haven't turned any of these on just yet. And you know what? We can actually go ahead and start that process now. We have a ton of power. How much power do we have? We have 673 megawatts. That is tons. So we are going to end the episode very soon, I promise. One thing that I like to do is we're only going to start out light. We're going to do like 2,000 of each. If I can, come on, you can, there we go. And this is not going to actually, like, these will not move fast enough or collect enough to actually fill this completely, but it gets a little bit of a start, gets a little bit of a buffer. It will start to pull from, pull from these as needed over time. This is an in-game build, like I said before. I don't like to make builds that I'm going to tear down, and, I would like to have these builds be reusable. So this is literally the in-game build. The only difference is that we upgrade the smelter over time. This is the only stuff that we're tearing down. All of this stuff eventually will come down and make room for the much nicer looking ducks in a row builds. Anyways, okay, this episode has gone on long enough. That is it for me for this episode. In the next episode, like I said, we're going to work on the mall. We're going to collect some items. And yeah, that will be that. Okay, so I will see you in that episode, and thanks for watching.